All right, this is the Young's 2-bike e-bike rack. I got this from Outfitr. It's also available on Amazon. It's got some pretty cool features that are unique for this rack and being for, in particular, fat tire e-bikes. So it looks like we do have a number of pieces pretty well packaged with cardboard in here, so it's nice and recyclable. I got the wrenches that it says I need. Pretty good manual, looks to be pretty clear to what's going on. Very sturdy. The box is heavy, so. Here are the trays. Oh, they are aluminum. So this is what you slide up against your tire. And then I like how all these ratchet straps, you can see they have this rubber, so where the ratchet strap is connecting your bike or your wheel or any part of your bike, it's got this rubber, which I think is really nice for protecting your probably pretty expensive fat tire e-bike. Here is the ramp. Oh man, that ramp is heavy. So the ramp is not aluminum. All right, I'm not going to do this whole installation, and I'm going to show you the rest of the parts and pieces that are in here. So we got this kind of main T-section. Everything very nicely, you know, it's all powder coated steel or aluminum. Here's the part that goes, the main pivot part that goes in the receiver. Again, very thick walled, just beefy stuff. Yeah, and even the hardware, like, and even just the hardware is just big, thick hardware with a lock washer. So, good stuff. I'm going to put this together. All right, got the 2-inch hitch here for the Young's e-bike rack. I'm going to throw it on right now. It has an anti-wobble hitch pin here. So what you do is it threads in there, plus then you have your cotter pin to go on the inside. So you can get this in there really tight and cinches up so it takes away all the movement. This rack is not light, of course, but happy to report that I got a weight. It was less than the advertised weight of 56 pounds on the rack. So a little lighter than advertised, which is always nice to see. When you start to thread in these hitch pins, sometimes moving the rack makes it easier to get threads in there. So typically you can get most of, if not all of the threads taken up just by finger tight. That way it's a little easier to do those last couple threads. So we got that anti-wobble bolt there, hitch pin on this side. Now we're good there. This is not a fully manual rack. It's just the way it is, and it's it makes maybe slightly longer to deploy, but the exchange for that is super solid operation, and just it's such a solid rack. So bring it down. There's a little bolt down under there that during the installation you tighten into place, and it really puts it right in the right spot so there's no wiggle in the ready to use position. Pin goes back in. Again, like I mentioned, you kind of have to wiggle this thing a little bit. But again, the benefit is it's just solid as heck. Ramp is in here with another cotter pin that is quite easy to take out. And then you can just take off your rack, use these tabs on the top, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Just going to show you here, these arms, you can see they always move. So what you do here when it's in this stowed position is you put those arms up underneath the rail, like you see I have it over there. So that way, if the arm moves, its movement is only this way coming up. It has a stopper so it doesn't move that way. Just a little quick tip for you. And just not really a spoiler, but probably my favorite part of this rack is how insanely long these straps are. One, it works good for its intended use for fat tire e-bikes. This will hold 200 pounds of bikes, so 100 pounds each bike, or whatever combination to get up to 200 pounds you might have. But this enables you, one, to get over those bigger fat tire bikes, and then even if you put a smaller tire bike in, which I'm going to show you here in a second, It comes, you can put this around, but then it comes with these Velcro straps that you also can wrap around to help with that part of it. So for preparing for loading your bikes, I take the upper clamps off. You can rotate your straps kind of over here out of the way. Once you have your bike, this portion here is what goes in front of your back tire. And this moves based on the wheelbase of your bike. So once you get this set into the right spot for your bike, it is very much a lock it into place and kind of forget about it situation. Again, I'm going to take off both of the upper supports. There's notches in this end of the rack foot. There goes my ramp. I'm going to come up with the first bike. This is an 85-pound cargo bike, not fat tires, but big tires with thick rims that pretty much has a lot of the same features as a fat tire bike. So this rear support, it goes right up against your tire. So slide on my top support. And what you want to do with these top supports, when this top part pivots, you want to get this as high on the bike as you can get it. Whoopsie. I'm going to put it around the seat post, even though that's not the tightest fit. And I can always, customize that if I want to. Again, the super long straps are fantastic. Makes it much easier to not get grease on your hands. Additionally, all the straps have this rubber piece that you can put over the painted part of your bike to, eliminate scratches on your frame. This is a longer wheelbase bike here. This bike has a 50-inch wheelbase, and it still accommodates this larger bike just fine. All right, that's in there. You can see, like I said, this is an 85-pound bike. I mean, it's in there solid. There's a small amount of movement, but I mean, the rack barely moves. All right. I'm going to quickly reinsert my ramp. So with the smaller bike tires, you can see how that strap's not all the way around there. One, the bike is also still very solid because you got this center point, and that's a really nice mounting point on this particular bike, like that, nice and high up on the bike. Higher on the bike you can get it, the better. But I'm going to show you just how to wrap around. I'm going to wrap around the Velcro straps to provide some additional support to here. You got some grooves here in the wheel cradle and some other spots that you can loop that Velcro around. So for me, there's a really nice little spot there to grab right here around there's a crossbar. It seems like that works really nice. And on this back side, we can just do it real easy and simply right around, because it's a nice long strap. Helps out. I still like putting these around as a double safety, but again, it's just solid. While it isn't as manual as some other racks, you don't have like a foot pedal to kick it up or anything. Everything's in there pinned. It's super solid. It just feels, you just know your bike's not going to go anywhere. And that's a really great feeling when you have a nice bike you paid a lot of money for, heavy e-bike, it's a lot of racks don't accommodate e-bikes, especially fat tire e-bikes, especially the big fat tire e-bikes all that well. And this does a dynamite job. It gives enough space. You can see the bikes are not really crunched up against each other. You might have to do a little it depends on your seat height versus handlebars, but that's a pretty minor thing. But you see nice space between the bike. even with, you know, this is a big cargo bikes and it's not really having any issues. So you need a cost-effective e-bike rack. This is a really good option. You know, not lifting. I mean, you can do it if you're younger, you're strong, whatever you are. But it's nice not to have to. And, you know, just being this opens up. You know, maybe you have a big heavy e-bike that you typically just ride from home because it's hard to transport. Well, this rack takes a lot of that difficulty out with the ramp. And if you even have a hard time getting up the ramps, a lot of the e-bikes have a walk mode or a throttle where you could just feather it. You can use another person. It's just, there's a lot of potential with this rack. And like I said before, the things I love the most are, one, the build quality of this thing and those extra long straps. They are, I wish all e-bike racks, period, had very long straps like that. It keeps your hands from getting so dirty, and it's just a smart idea. Everything just fits in so tight and solid. Now, the only thing will notice when going down the road is this pin, the pin for the ramp, is not super tight. So this does move around a little bit in your rear view mirror. You know, it's not an issue at all. But you can see the rest of everything else. There really isn't anything else that moves on the thing.